Thank you for joining me again on the nature of mental health. On today's special episode, we are joined once again by Citlali Herrera from Inner Worlds Psychotherapy for the Spring Equinox edition of our Seasonal Resilience series. Lali Herrera is a licensed psychotherapist and founder of Inner Worlds Psychotherapy, a private practice based in Westchester County, New York, serving clients across New York and New Jersey. Her work is rooted in a simple belief: everyone deserves the opportunity to be seen and to live a fully authentic life. In her practice, she primarily works with adult daughters of emotionally immature parents, people pleasers, perfectionists, and hyper-independent women, helping them reconnect with their bodies, boundaries, and needs through nature-based healing. She integrates ecotherapy, somatic and psychodynamic approaches, hypnotherapy, psychedelic integration, and ketamine-assisted therapy, helping clients reconnect with not just themselves, but with nature as a regulating, remembering force. Her work invites healing that is relational, embodied, and deeply rooted in the natural world. Today, on this spring equinox, we are discussing this time of renewal and change as we begin to come out of the darkness of winter and into the light. We'll discuss what it means to be balanced, curious, and intentional as we move through this season. So stick around and join Lali and I in our conversation about seasonal resilience in spring. Welcome to The Nature of Mental Health, the podcast where we explore how time outdoors supports emotional well-being, resilience, and healing. I'm your host, Will Henry, clinical social worker, nature-informed therapist, and founder of Riverstone Mental Health Collective. Join me as we dive into practical tools, meaningful conversations, and inspiring stories that help us reconnect with the natural world and ourselves. Thanks for being here. Let's get started. Thank you all for joining me on the nature of mental health. I want to welcome back Lali Herrera from Inner Worlds Psychotherapy for our seasonal resilience series on the spring equinox edition. So welcome back, Lali. It's so great to have you back here.
Thanks so much, Willie. It's so nice to be back and to talk more about the seasons and the transitions of time. And I was looking forward to this call, so I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. We got pummeled. I'll use the word pummeled, but I did enjoy the amount of snow that we got in the last couple of months, 4 feet or more, in a matter of like 4 or 5 weeks, which I loved. And then now we've got this. So what is it? 70 today, 72 today. Sunny and beautiful out. And the change, I guess I'll start by asking you, what does the spring equinox, represent to you personally and your work? Like as a nature therapist, how do you kind of to view that?
Yeah, and the snow is wild this year. But
Yeah.
as we're transitioning into this time of balance, I would say this finding of the balance between night and day comes, of course, it's equal. But what does that mean internally for my people, the people that I work with, and myself? Where we're balancing the energy that's moving forward and also that transition from the slowness of winter into the day to day and the urge to do all these social activities that are coming with the spring and the summer and booking our calendars. And I still need rest. What does that look like to hold the two together side by side? Or the adversity and the joy of life both sitting side by side. I see these things as it's not so like black and white or night and day always, but finding that these two things can exist at the same time, even if they seem totally different from one another, which is exactly what Equinox is. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That's such a important concept. I love the word balance you're using. I think that's I think it's beautiful, and the importance of holding those two things, which I talk about all the time. I see like spring as kind of, you hear a lot about the like rebirth, renewal, and all of that kind of stuff. And I love the perspective of balance. I think that's really beautiful. Do you notice any shifts in your clients thinking about that? Balance and this with spring, with the sun's coming out, the balance of time, day and night, and all of that. Do you notice any big shifts with your clients?
Yeah. I've noticed a shift in, especially in the movement towards energy or the movement towards action, and also at the same time this like pressure to be doing more. I should be feeling
Mm,
better. I'm supposed to feel better because it's 72 degrees out. Supposed to be excited, how it's energy, but not everyone is. And that's where it comes with holding those two things. It's like, yes, there's all this energy happening. All these birds are migrating. We can feel the movement happening outside of us. But I might also be feeling still this heaviness within me, and the
mm.
2 are happening side by side. And for some people, it is feeling a little bit more what you would think of spring as this blossoming and blooming, this new beginning where this newfound energy is coming. And there's space for both of those. Yeah, I don't know if that's
Yeah.
the question.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, no, absolutely. I was thinking about, last time we met, we talked about the winter solstice and how like winter looks. And for me, I was saying it's a time of like kind of not reflection, but planning, right? You plant those
Mhm.
seeds and you kind of plan for what you want to bring to fruition in the spring. And I like what you're saying about the pressure that can add to people sometimes. This is something I was actually going to talk about in a little bit, but I mean we're here. So do you ever think like do you ever think there's too much pressure? Spring puts too much pressure on clients. I mean, I can, like you're saying, seeing sometimes it feels I heard someone say to me, sometimes it feels like it's another New Year's with all the rebirth and renewal sentiments, right? Do you ever see it like destabilize a client?
Yeah, yeah. I actually don't see it as destabilizing with the newness as wintertime and the newness of winter.
Mm,
I think it is a little bit more organic. I personally see this as New Year for me, but that doesn't mean it's
hmm
the same for my clients.
hmm
But that there is, it's like suddenly the calendars just get like booked, right? And
Yeah,
then,
yeah.
and I work with a lot of people who experience a lot of people pleasing, and it's hard to say no. It's hard to say no to all these activities and
Such a
events,
good point.
and they just get very overwhelmed and stressed and stretched thin, and then they start canceling sessions because they feel overwhelmed, and they feel overwhelmed because they didn't go to their sessions, and so
Yeah.
it kind of becomes this whole domino effect, and then when summer actually hits, it's like a whole nother, like, level of stress because then the energy is even more heightened and the days are even longer. So yeah, it finding the balance, I think, is where it gets can be a little tricky, and where the pressure might come in a little of like, can I rest? Can I give myself this opportunity to rest as I'm still slowly awakening to more light and to
How do you
more.
help them manage that? What kind of I guess tricks, tools, kind of things do you recommend for someone who might be experiencing this? Oh my God, there's so much to do. This overwhelm, this imbalance, if you will.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I would say look at your calendar, slow down. Like, what can we take off? What needs to get done now and what can wait?
Hmm
What can you say no to? How can you connect with Can we touch a tree a little bit? Can we go earth a little bit? Because when we do these things that are actually connecting with the physical environment, our nervous system naturally responds and just shows us that we can slow down. We can now, when we're holding a tree, we can decide, okay, what is important right now? Is the to-do list really that long? It just like there's just like this natural communication when we're in the nature space that allows us to recalibrate a bit and
Mm.
prioritize. But yeah, of course getting the nervous system nice and regulated is a great way to be able to bring more balance. But we can do that by forest bathing and going into nature or practicing moving our bodies in ways that excite us, doing art, all
I
sorts of
love
ways.
that. Yeah, and the idea of slowing down in a time when you feel like you need to be speeding up and doing more, because that is, we're slowing down, but we're not slowing down to a speed that's counterproductive. We're slowing down because that's what we need, and giving ourselves what we need is important and hard to remember in times when you feel like you've got so much on your plate.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We're not slowing down to like winter mode, but we're just
Yeah,
letting the soil like defrost, before our
love it,
letting our shoots come out and
love
like
it, love it, love
really
it.
letting it germinate. Yeah, yeah. Like what does the defrosting process look like for you individually, and like really and some of us might be defrosted already, right? We're like, let's hit the year of the horse, like let's hit the ground running. I had the whole garden ready. Like maybe some of us are feeling
Uh-huh.
that. That's okay too, because we all have our own inner season that's happening at the same time as the seasons outside of us. And
Hmm.
um, that's I could be in winter and summer and vice versa. And that's just how, but it's like they're happening at the same time, and you might be more energized in your winter, but when you're in winter in the seasons, but, we have to listen to the inner clock alongside with the systems that are happening, the seasons, excuse me, that are happening
Yeah,
outside of us too.
I love
Yeah.
that. Absolutely. So this is part of what I was going to deem as like clinician's corner, right? Is this kind of
Mhm.
conversation. But when you're out with like, so spring's coming, we start going out, more with clients because they're willing to tolerate more the nicer weather. And by nicer, I mean warmer. Um, how do you navigate like the tension? We talk about their nature being like a co-therapist, right? How do
Yeah.
you navigate the tension between letting nature do its work and the instinct to like intervene and step in or guide when we're out in nature? This is like for the clinicians listening, right? What is your kind of internal compass that lets you know when and when to step in and help them see something?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it does feel like it's a very intuitive
Mm,
thing to, like, really read into the person a little bit and their body language.
good point.
Um, I think if the client I'm working with tends to be in their head a bit more, just as, like, getting to know them and knowing that that's how where they lean towards, that's where I would intervene a little bit more perhaps and do a little bit more guidance. And sometimes I just offer it. It's like, "Do you want like, I'm noticing something," or like, "Do you want me to tell you? Or maybe you're having this connection right now." Um, but I tend to take my time in the intervention part just to see if that's necessary. Because often when I let the client do what's happening with nature, connecting with it, they tend to just it tends to bloom on their own, right? And they tend
Mm,
to have this natural experience. So I don't wanna do too much intervention where I'm obstructing the experience for them, you know? Yeah, it's kinda tricky. I think it does
it
take a little
is.
bit just like, where's my intuitive radar? Where is it
Right.
going? Yeah.
For sure. And I know I mean, for me personally, like, clients spend a lot of time in their head, and it's so I kind of I'm thinking, when I have like I'm sitting in the office, right? And I see people are in their head, and I try to get them out there and into their bodies. And when I'm on a hike or on a walk, um, and they're in their head, I can see it, right? Like you're talking about body language and like intuitively knowing where your client is, because you have to kind of know your client, or if you're getting to know them, is to kind of open them up and have them touch the tree, have them get
Mm,
out of their head into their environment, which is connection, right? Which is a
yeah.
lot of what I talk about is connection. And
I love that. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that's that's nice. I like that intuitive. You have to trust your intuition, trust ourselves, right?
Yeah, yeah, and our own connection too, I
Mm,
don't know, we feeling connected, could we lean on the tree and ask the tree ourselves? Like, "Do I need to intervene?" That might be getting a
there you
little
go.
woo, but I go there, but, like, "Is this time? Like, tell me what I should do. Earth, like, talk to me. Tell me this person need my support or, I trust that you got her too."
Well, that's all. I mean, that's also connection, right? We talk about connection is not just you to me, right? It's you to me, and the earth, you to me to the earth, you to the earth. It's all um, related, if you will.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah, and, seeing it as our co-therapist, I mean, we might, like, look at our co-therapist and make eye contact or something and, like, now's the time, but, like, with nature, it's a little different, but we have that natural connection already. We can be
Mhm.
like, "Okay, is this my time? Is this a sign?"
Is this a
But
sign?
yeah.
What's a way do you think people can intentionally use the arrival of spring to support themselves, right? So in a gentle way, because we've talked about like the overwhelm sometimes people can feel. So what's a gentle way, realistic way that people can kind of use this equinox, this time to improve or and work on their well-being
Yeah,
ways?
yeah. I would say find an intention first. What is my intention for the remainder of this year or as this new year comes, however you see it? Where do I want to focus my energy? That's what attention really is, where attention
Hmm.
flows, energy, where intention flows, energy. What is it saying? Where
Energy
attention goes,
go,
energy flows.
where attention goes, energy flows. That's
There
it.
it
Yeah, you
is.
said that last time. That's beautiful. I love that.
Oh, I just said it last time too.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
that's great. I love it.
yeah,
It's a
yeah,
good
but setting
reminder.
that intention. I mean, we think about like setting planting the seeds in the garden and creating this. this newness, and it can get really scattered, right? If we're like planning a garden for ourselves, like what am I going to use? What's going to be the best to plant right now? And that's the same thing we can do with our own wellness. Like, what is actually the most important to me right now, and where do I want to focus that energy? It's kind of what we said earlier about like prioritizing when we get too overwhelmed with the busyness. It's like, where can I just like put the other stuff aside? Can I plan for that for next year or later in the season? And what's going to
Hmm.
germinate best right now for me, and the highest good of myself and all people involved. Let me find that and bring that energy forth and do some of the work around that. Does that
Yeah, no,
make
absolutely.
sense? Yeah.
And
I'm
I
like, "Oh,
love
we're just
that.
rambling."
No, not at all. It's because attention and intention are so, you can be intentional with your attention, and if you give something attention, then your intention will be going, I like that. That's important. Do you have any specific what do you call it, practices or rituals or anything that you kind of suggest for clients when they're out? I mean, this will be airing on the spring equinox, so it'll be March 20th in 12 and
Mhm.
12. So do you have any practices or anything you can recommend to help like with that intention setting?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I would say bring your attention to the forefront of your mind at the beginning of every day, because we
Mm,
have, I don't know if I talked about the RAS last time I was here, if I talked about intention, but the
mm-mm.
RAS is the reticular activating system, which is like a bundle of nerves at the base of our mind. And it basically it filters what's deemed important.
Oh,
So,
I like
like,
this.
when we're having this conversation, we're focusing on each other. There's birds passing in front of my window. I'm able to like filter that out because
Hmm.
I'm having this conversation with you. And so when we have an intention and we bring that, we're literally bringing the intention forward. So that reticular activating system is filtering out things that are deemed unimportant. So it's like for example, why I bought a car like almost exactly a year ago, and I wanted a black SUV. So I was seeing black SUVs of the same brand and I was noticing them.
Right.
And I
Yeah.
was like, everyone's driving this brand. Like, no, like that's not, I was just filtering that out. My RAS was filtering like, oh, this is important to you. So we're gonna notice it more and more and more. So we do this with an intention. So every day when we connect with that intention, then we're activating, we're telling our RAS, we're telling our subconscious mind, deem this important. So then all the
I
other stuff
love
can
that.
get pushed. Our brain just naturally does it. We just have to connect with it, every day. Yeah.
That's awesome. I love that. And what is
Yeah.
it? I don't remember this.
Reticular activating system,
Nice.
RAS, RAS. Yeah.
RAS. Okay. Yeah, because I mean, I like to do that myself. Is kind of start the day, you know, in a. I didn't quite frame it so nicely, but just kind of what am I going to focus on today, and
Yeah.
what can I bring my attention to today? So I love that. Okay, and that's a good practice. I think that you can definitely share with clients. I love that,
Definitely.
and
Yeah.
that.
And you can do the
What do
same
you
one
see
every
that?
day. Like, who cares?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How how can you if there's something like particularly on like if you could suggest someone celebrate the equinox in a way, or acknowledge it, I should say, probably a better word,
Mm.
on the day of, do you have any particular things you like to do to just kind of I for me it's I just kind of say thanks and I just kind of acknowledge where I am in the place of things, and more my place is in the big grand scheme of this beautiful earth and world that I live in, and just acknowledge my peace in that is kind of how I do it. Do you have anything particular you like to do?
Yeah, yeah. I was for this year I was planning to have a little offering for the land, and probably just go out into the woods and perhaps some foods or plants or something of the sort, some songs, just singing some songs, just to thank the land for all that it's going to provide for us over the next few months by us,
Oh.
the whole ecosystem, not
Mm-hmm.
just us humans.
Mm-hmm.
And just giving thanks for, the winter getting through the winter, all the water that came from all the snow,
Oh, yes.
um,
I
all this
love
like
that.
abundance that's about to come forth from all of that snow, all that perhaps adversity for, a lot of animals that were out there as well
Mm-hmm.
and trees. But yeah, just giving it. But we could also just light a candle, just be with the presence of ourself and with that intention if you want. But I really like to thank the land as much as I can and
I
really
love that.
connect. Sure. Yeah.
Gratitude, that's what I'm hearing
Yeah.
and
Oh,
it's
yeah.
so
Wow.
totally
Yeah.
something. I mean, we were speaking about, having, 4 feet of snow dumped on us in such a short period of time, and I thought about, like, oh, these the squirrels that I see jumping around, I don't see them so much, they're, like, burrowed in and everything,
Right.
but I know on the solstice, the winter solstice, I spoke about how much I love snowdrops, the little white flowers that pop up, and,
Mm.
I thought to myself when there's, 2 or 3 feet of snow on the ground. And I'm like, where, and it's
How are they gonna get through?
how are they going to get through? This is about the time they're usually there. And so, of course, the weather changes and snow started melting away. And like the way my yard is, there's like a hill. And on this one section is where most of the snowdrops actually pop up. And the second like the snow melted away, just a little ground, you could see like all the snowdrops starting to pop up everywhere. And
Mm.
it made me so happy to know, between that and the birds I hear outside, I'm like, spring is coming. And it's, for me, signal something. But I love the idea of gratitude, um, and your perspective on the adversity, like you said, for some, but it brings so much. It fills the rivers, it fills the earth with water, it gives it, it nurtures. There's a place for everything in this ecosystem, and
Yeah, yeah, and it really
yeah,
makes us appreciate the spring even more.
absolutely,
It's
yeah, for me, yeah,
this one, the
yeah,
sun is like, we've been dying for this. But also, yeah, it was also beautiful in the winter. So, yeah, there's so much to appreciate with that and the adversity and how much we can go through. And what comes out of that, all this beautifulness. Yeah,
yeah,
there's
yeah,
abundance within it. Yeah,
abundance within it,
I've been seeing the flowers come up too.
yeah,
Yeah, what did you call? What did you say they were called? The little white
snowdrops.
snowdrops. Yeah, the little white ones.
Snowdrops, they have the spiky little leaves that poke through the frozen ground is why they're so
Yes,
remarkable to
they're
me.
all
Because
around. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, yeah, I had all this snow and then these little patches of mulch and grass, and depending on the area, and I'd
Mm.
see these sharp little leaves poking
Yeah,
through, and I'd
yeah.
be like,
They
"They're
came
coming through!"
right up. Yeah, there was still
Just
snow on the ground, and
still
I was
snow on
like,
the
"Oh,
yep.
dang,
They
we're
are
here."
they are very strong
Yeah.
little plants. I love them. Um, What so a question. How
Mhm.
can people hold space for you were talking before about the balance, the spring, holding two things at once. So hope and uncertainty during this time of transition. Um, do you have any additional thoughts on that? Spring is often thought of as like a hopeful kind of here we go, it's a new birth,
Mhm.
rebirth, renewal. That's the word I'm looking for. Sorry,
Mhm.
and and uncertainty because of that brings, like you were saying, overwhelm sometimes.
Mhm.
How
Yeah.
do people hold space for that for inside? I guess is the question.
Yeah, yeah. It's interesting because sometimes I think of hope as a form of uncertainty. We're hoping for something, but we're
Mm,
uncertain of what that will be. And I think what we could do is lean into the discomfort of the unknown and what it feels like to be in the space where we don't know what's happening. And maybe that's kind of fun and exciting. Maybe it's very nerve wracking.
or
But the
both.
more that we lean into just like, well, I don't know what's going to happen, but right in the present moment, this feels amazing, or this feels whatever. Then I think that the hope and the uncertainty can begin to just feel like something in the background, or it's going to be dealt with at some point. Because right now, if we keep coming back to the now,
It's being
um,
present. Yeah, it's being coming
yeah,
back to the now. I love that. That's so wow. That's so it's a good point. Hope can feel uncertain because you're hoping for something but you don't know, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. And the going into the unknown is where there's like a limit. There's infinite amounts of possibilities in the space of the unknown, and it could be even better than you hoped for. And we can lean into that too. Sometimes I tell my clients to play like the what if game. And when they could
Hmm.
do what if of like all these like terrible things that happen, I'm like, what if we just switched it? And we're like, what if I get the job offer? What if I really like the job? What if I meet my best friend there? What if I meet my life partner there? And just like we could just keep going in these what ifs and like maybe it is a wonderful thing that it could happen. We don't know. The fact is
Right.
that we don't know. And we can choose to go with fear, or we can choose to go with excitement, or just choose to like stay as present as possible because that would be the most balanced, I think.
That would be the most balanced, and it's also like I talk a lot about like being present and being feel and acknowledging your safety. Like in this moment, I am here, I am safe, I am fed, I am watered, I am all of the things,
Yeah.
and bringing that uncertainty back to the present, I think, is so important. Thank you for saying that, and even being being out in nature on a walk and talk, for example, I'm always trying to get people to come back to what is going on right now. When we get in our heads, like we were talking about earlier, what about the birds, the trees, the leaves, the rustling on the ground, or the squirrels crawling through them in the distance? All those present sounds um, are stabilizing,
Yeah, yeah. I love that. I love what you said about safety
grounding.
too. That's
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. There's like we have to find that sense of safety, and the uncertainty is, of course, the most unsafe feeling
yeah.
because we don't know. But we do know the present, which is I love what you were saying about that. And it's so we can find presence. It's easy to connect with our senses when we're in nature. That
Hmm.
helps find that presence. It just it kind of like throws us. To me, it throws me in there. I'm like, oh, suddenly I can be present after a few moments of just being out there. And of course, there's moments where I zone out and I get in my head, but
Sure.
it's very easy to, the squirrel goes by, oh, I'm right back. What was I doing? Why was I
Exactly.
thinking about that?
Yeah, what was that? Oh. Absolutely. It's and it's like now that the snow's melting and I get those crunchy leaves back, green's gonna start popping up next few weeks, right? You'll start seeing little buds on the trees and little
Yeah.
snowdrops and other flowers coming up and
Mhm.
green starting, sometimes red.
I was thinking that I was driving back from the gym this morning and I cannot wait for that lime green, like fresh spring. I'm like driving
Yes.
down like woodsy areas. I'm like, oh, just so like, I just love green. Green's my favorite color. So I'm
Yeah,
like, yeah,
yeah.
spring. I get to see all this green.
I love it's that and that spring green is my favorite green.
Yeah.
So orange is actually my favorite color, which is weird, but
Oh, that's a
but the
great
two colors
combination.
mixed together look beautiful
Hmm.
together. So
You kinda got some of that in the in your on your curtains, that
yeah,
spring
yeah, I do.
green.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Speaking of being present and acknowledging where you are, right?
Mhm.
Being outdoors during seasonal changes, how can that kind of help us connect with ourselves or reconnect with ourselves? How do we kind of do you have any thoughts on that? You know, using this equinox, for example, to connect with ourselves. Our
Yeah,
clients
yeah.
connect with themselves, right?
Yeah, yeah. I think the more in tuned we are to understanding and being present with nature, the more connected we are to ourselves. It happens as like a mirror. It's
Mm.
automatic. So when we're connecting with the different changes in the temperature, I know that this time of year it fluctuates a lot as we transition. And like just like am I fluctuating a lot there too? Or am I not? I don't know. But let me understand what's happening here. Let me try to get a sense of what birds are migrating right now. What's the first trees that are budding? Like, can I get a sense of that? What's budding within me that's first? Why do I
Mm.
sense and feel this? What's changing and what's going through me? Like a migration bird, is it coming past me and onto the other side? Like, let me just see these mirrors that are naturally coming up as this transition is happening. What's happening for you when you transition? How does that look for you?
Mhm.
When change happens. We're fluctuating too, I assume, because that's, we have the good days and the bad days and we're making new changes in our lives. But then there always is a sense of stability on the other end. We can count on that being there.
I love that, and you're aligning yourself with nature, and that mirror, like you said, I think is really important because we talk about this all the time, right? We are nature. We are nature. Not we're
Yeah.
not like part of it. We're not like walking through it. It's like we are the big system, right? We are nature, and I think
Yes.
that identification you're speaking of, that mirror, using nature as a mirror because we're looking at ourselves, right? And how can we align with that, or how does that align with us, our feelings, our experiences, I think it's beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. And we just have to go out and like observe it, which is
Yeah.
like so easy and cool. You just
And
have to
just be
observe things.
curious, right?
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
curiosity.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
love that. Yeah, that's an important part. Yeah.
Yeah.
Curiosity, openness, and suddenly we see ourselves. It's like, oh, I just had this download in like my 30-minute walk. Who knew that I would just get this insight that I didn't, I needed. All my
Right.
answers, my questions have been answered.
What about with someone who is more in like a more, we're up here in Westchester County, northern Westchester County, and there's a lot of green space and wild spaces. And so someone who's maybe in the city and has access to a park, how can you cultivate the sense of renewal without needing wilderness, right? How can you do this in a smaller, wild, not a wild space necessarily, but like in a city park?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I first got most connected living in Brooklyn
Right.
with
I
going
remember
to
you saying that's right.
Prospects. Yeah, yeah. So absolutely possible. I mean, like you said, we're not separate. So like, no matter where we are, where it's around us. And that could be when the sun connecting with the sunrise or the sunset, the trees that are in the little concrete boxes. I mean, they all have spirit and life and they're
Yep.
blooming and blossoming. And what does it look like to connect with them? I would go earth in Prospect Park. I mean, sometimes there's like not great things on the ground. So you just gotta be careful where you step, but
Sure, but
right.
right.
But you can just sit there, have your bare feet on the ground, connect with the
Hmm.
grass, the sky, the weather is changing, the tops of the trees. If you're in a higher building, you can't connect. Like, just where are the birds that pass through? There's a there's a lot of opportunity, I think, in those spaces. It's just taking time to notice and bringing your attention to it, so that you can
Yes,
bring your energy towards it. Yeah, yeah. And
totally.
even with like the shifts in daylight, like, how is that
Sure.
different for me in my experience and the way the sun is rising? Yeah.
And looking for those, I mean, in a previous episode, I talked about moments of awe, and you can find those in city parks, in the light through the trees, and the little things, and there's like whole ecosystems in a tree, and so
Yeah.
just walking up to a tree, like you were saying, touching the bark earlier, is really inspecting it, looking at the section. I've never seen that before. This unique
Mm,
pattern, the way the light hits it, all of those little micro
yeah.
moments of awe really connect you to the environment and connect you to the earth, and um, it's very it can be very powerful and small. Doesn't have
Yeah.
to be, the Appalachian Trail, right? It
Right,
can
yeah.
be a tree in Prospect Park.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah. I love what you said about the micro. There's so
Yeah,
much, and there is a whole
so
ecosystem.
much.
You just see one tree, even if it's in concrete, even if you look a
Yep.
little cuckoo, but, there's crazy things happening like New York City anyway, so
Yeah.
you can just go up to this
Focus
tree,
in.
befriend it. Yeah, just
Focus in. Follow an ant. An ant's
yeah.
journey can be a
Mhm.
really remarkable thing to watch. What are they doing? And just being curious. Again, back to that word curious,
Yeah.
and how following bugs and or checking in. Another activity I love is, which can be done in a park in the city, is called sit spot, where you find a spot in your yard or in the park or somewhere, and you go and you spend 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever. Every day you go and you just sit and you just observe. You just be present with where you are with nature,
Mhm.
observe, and just be open to what you see. Um, and and doing that, I don't have the time myself to do that every day, right? But when I do and am able to do that, it's like the things you notice, it's remarkable. The
Mm.
um the change, the resilience of nature, the intricacity. Help me with that word. Intricate interest. Damn.
Intricacy?
Yes, that's the word. I can't say it. I couldn't say it. Sorry. What it is, appreciate it. But yeah, the nature is so intricate, and
Mm.
there's so
Yeah.
much going on, and there's so much to notice. And I love that exercise sit spot. It's a good one.
I love that. Yeah, yeah. There's so much, yeah, we can like get to know a sense of an animal, know, like how they show
Hmm.
up and their little habits, and
Yeah.
sometimes even their personalities. Like if they're playing, we don't even notice them playing half the time, but we can see squirrels playing. Sometimes it's not playing, but
Sometimes it's
you
not
know,
playing,
yeah,
but different times a year they have different behavior patterns, right? So they looked different coming up in the winter solstice than they do now coming out of the winter, right?
yeah.
They were foraging, storing food in December, right? Now they're like, okay, what kind of bulbs can I dig up?
Yeah, yeah. Right, yeah, yeah, and we can, like, get to know that if we come back to it. It doesn't have to be every day, like, we do
No,
get busy,
yeah,
but once a week even, there could be significant difference once a week as the seasons are changing,
absolutely.
and getting to know our space and our environment, and getting to know that one tree or that one spot in the
Yes.
park, or the whole Appalachian Trail if you're into the wilderness. I mean, great.
Yeah. It's
It's
all
like
great.
whatever. Yeah,
Doesn't
as
have
long
to
as
be
you're
all of that though. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. 'Cause when as long as we're disconnected or connecting with nature, excuse me, because when we're
Yes, yeah,
disconnected with nature, we're disconnected from ourselves, so we need to plug
very good
ourselves
point.
into it.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Um, does spring offer like a message of resilience for us, do you think? And how? Do you have
Yeah.
any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think about what we said about the snow and how we
Mm,
that's how we look what we went through this, like, we made it through, we're so resilient, all this great things that can come from going through the resilience and sitting with it and being present with it and allowing it um, without too much resistance. I mean, not that we can resist snow really. It's gonna come,
it's
right?
gonna come,
Just
right?
like
Yeah.
adversity is just gonna happen in life, but, um the more we lean into it, I know we talked about this before we started recording, but, like, when we leaned into the winter a bit, going out into snowshoe and whatnot, enjoying ourselves in that, in moments of adversity, and that's finding that balance again of, like, the joy and adversity can be held at the same time, and then how good it feels when we get to the other side, how much relief we can experience.
Which
Yeah.
is part of what we don't ever, when you're in your anxious brain and you're thinking about the what ifs and what might happen that's negative, right? We, like you were saying earlier, right? We don't think about the what ifs that are good, but what will it feel like when we come out on the other side of this? Because we are resilient. We do come through the other side. It looks a little different for everybody. It's not always easy, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I was absolutely, and we are resilient. I mean, because we are nature, and we think about all the coyotes and the deer and the squirrel, what they just had to endure with all these
Hmm.
multiple feet of snow, and how difficult that might have been to get food and to just, I mean, the temperatures were freezing, right? In the teens and single
At
digits.
best, yeah.
They can do it. We can at home, like we can go through adversity as well. It's mirrors, like we have the same level of adversity within us because we
Mm,
are part of the
mirrored.
ecosystem.
There's that word again, mirror. I love it.
Yeah,
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 absolutely. I'm going to internalize that word and use that more, I think, in with myself in my practice, because it's so important what you're saying about holding the mirror up, using nature as a mirror, right? It is resilience, resilient, and it is evidence that we too, as nature, can weather these storms and get through these multiple feet of snow through we're here
yeah.
and here we are and it's beautiful and flowers are happy and it's gonna be great.
Yeah, and the other side can be really good. We can
Absolutely.
just yeah, totally.
What is one small way do you think people can deepen their relationship with the natural world this season? If you could
Mm.
recommend something, what do you think?
Yeah, I think creating the time to connect with it,
Mm,
even if it's connecting from your window, and just admiring the tree from afar, just creating that intentional time to connect with the natural world. Ideally, we get out as much as we can, but we can create the time for it. I think it's not do I have enough time? It's will I make enough time to get out and be in nature? Can I prioritize this? Kind of going back to what we
there
talked
you go.
about.
Yeah.
Where can I put my what's important to me? And is it important to me to be connected to nature? Is that going to be part of my healing journey and experience? And then connecting with it in the smallest ways or the most grand ways, whatever works best for you, as long as we're consistently coming to it in some way, shape, or form. I think it could be so unique to everybody, right? There's not like a
Absolutely.
one size fit all, which is kind of the fun part. We can play with it and be
Yes.
flexible. And if we're not out every day, that's okay. But finding a sense of rhythm and consistency to some degree, um, and just creating that time, just being really intentional that you're going to set that for yourself. It's for you.
It is. It is
Yeah.
absolutely for you. And I think that's really important, finding the time and intention to make it part of your life, to make it a bigger part of your life. Because it's identification, it's reconnection. It's not, you're
Yeah.
not reaching out to connect to something new. It's a reconnection to something
Yeah.
innate. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. I
yeah.
love it. Yeah. And it could be as small as like getting out of your car and admiring the bushes on your way to the front door.
Yeah,
Just slowing
exactly.
down
Just
to get
slowing
there.
down. Love
Yeah.
that. Yes. Slowing down, being intentional and curious. I'm going to go back to that word again too, is
Mm.
is about what do you see when you look. It's not just like, yep, bush. It's like, that's a bush. Look at the colors in that bush. Look at and it's just being a little curious just for 30 seconds, just for 10 seconds. It's a little
Yeah.
bit, but it adds up.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And the more you do, it's like habit stacking. Like you can just build on it from there. What you're already doing. So if that is just walking to your car, then let's add it to that, right? If you're going outside already, then like, can we be a little bit more intentional? Can we slow down more? Can we add
Mhm.
5 more minutes? I bring my computer and I just work outside.
Love that.
So I'm like bare feet on the ground. I'm like, I can't be indoors all the time. So
No, I hear you.
that works for me, but that's not working for everybody. I know.
No, well, we all, like you said, it's individual and it's
Yeah.
unique to each of us. We all have our own experience, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And being curious about that. Well, I know. Okay, so this episode will air on the 20th, which is the equinox, and I know you have some cool things coming up, even though they may be happening before this. But what kind of stuff is going on with Inner World Psychotherapy? What your practice? What's some new stuff
Yeah.
you're going to be doing?
Yeah, well, I am doing a planting seeds for the equinox on the 19th, so right before this comes out. And we're going to use hypnosis to help plant the seeds. So we're going to set intentions. I'm going
Amazing.
to talk a little bit more about the RAS, like I talked about today, and we're going to do a hypnosis based on the intention that we set. So we're just going to plant the seeds in the subconscious mind
Hmm.
in that practice. And I'm going to do one again for the solstice. That's going to be on theme with the solstice. But then on April 3rd, I'm also going to be hosting a free workshop on ketamine psychotherapy, ketamine 101. Just what is it? How does it help? How does the therapy look in congruence with ketamine? And I've always found psychedelics in nature to be like very interconnected. So
Sure, sure.
um, those are some things that have some seeds that I'm planting
Nice.
for for 2026. Yeah.
I love that. We had a person on the podcast who talked about the history of, well, psychedelics, but drugs, and we were talking about harm reduction in nature, nature informed harm reduction, and she talked about the historically, like animals, everyone seeks it out. It's part of our history,
Mm.
um, uh, mind altering substances, right? It's part of the history, and like acknowledge that, and I think it be interesting, and really informative to on the 3rd, you said, of April. What day
April
was it?
3rd. Yeah, it's a
3rd. Yeah,
Thursday.
yeah.
Thursday at
Thursday.
7 p.m. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, how does one reach out to you to get in touch about doing that?
Yeah, you can find me at innerworldpsychotherapy.com or on Instagram or TikTok at Inner Psychotherapy, and worlds with an S.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll have the page up. Or you can email me, Citlali at Psychotherapy. It's Citlali. And those are some of the many ways you can get in touch with me.
And they'll all be in the show notes as well. So it'll be a
Amazing.
one-click deal as well. So awesome. Thank you, Lolly. This has been so great. Do you have any last minute things you want to add before we
I
end
think
up
just
here?
reminders for this season change of being intentional, slowing down, finding your
Yes.
inner balance. I think those would be like the three takeaways that I would say to just be aware of as we're transitioning externally and internally during this time of year. And yeah,
So
yeah.
beautiful. Thank you. Yes. Awesome. That is absolutely true. All wonderful things. Thank you, Lolly.
Thank you. Looking forward to the solstice
Yes. Yes. I'll see
next
you then.
fall.
All
See
right.
you.
Thanks for listening to The Nature of Mental Health. If you enjoyed today's episode, please follow, rate, and share the show. It helps others find their way to this community. For more resources, visit riverstonementalhealth.com. Until next time, notice the small spaces where nature meets your day. Stay curious, and may you find resilience in every season.